Hello all. Here on New Year's Eve, we're seeing some unbelievable destruction over in Australia. We're seeing fires burn out towns and drive people all the way into the ocean. Let's go over the board and get some details. Australia's bushfire season. Massive bushfires rolled all the way to the coastline in southeast Australia, driving 4,000 people out into the ocean. They took shelter on the beach, and the fire department with a line of fire trucks saved most of the town, and the people were not forced into the water. It was that bad. Temperatures are in the range of 45 Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Are you seeing this? We'll go back to that in a minute. The most widespread bushfire season that Australia has seen since record keeping was 1974 to 1975, when 15% of Australia burned. So here on planet Earth, things are getting a little bit more serious. This is what climate change looks like. It's not everybody die at once. Every year we'll see something different. But more and more, this will become the norm. This is why climate change is so horrible. It's not everything's over with at once. Other than if you're the wildlife, then yeah, you're gone, especially with flames like that. Can you believe how vicious these flames are getting? We saw that a couple of years ago here in California, where the flames just ripped through a town and killed so many people. But that is really what climate change looks like. It's not this apocalyptic where everybody just fries at once. You fry little bits and pieces of the planet here and there, and you have extreme weather, rain, floods, even snow for a while. But fire season will have to become the norm. I live in California, and I have seen it. I know what Australia is going through, and I'm sorry to see it. But doesn't this make it worth doing something about climate change in your own habits, in your own ways? Getting involved with climate activists? Start something yourself? You don't need money. Who needs money? Okay, on a whole nother subject. Let's talk about microplastic. Scientists have been going all over the place, all over planet Earth, and no matter where they go, they are finding microplastic in the environment. So let's discuss microplastic for a minute here, how it works. So microplastic starts out with a bag. It ends up in the waterways and the rivers, and it comes down into the lakes and then eventually into the ocean. As it's doing that, it's breaking down into smaller and smaller pieces, all the way down to submicro particles. Now, when this happens, they settle down to the bottom. Well, let's go over to the board and take a look at this. So biologists have come up with a new technology to try and soak up all this plastic. They've been using this aero chip for quite a while to clean up plastic from sediments in reservoirs that we drink from. The way this stuff works is they pour it into the water. They pour this into the water, and then it uses, well, let's do a little thing here. Bottom of the reservoir, microplastic, all on the bottom of the ocean, or bottom of the reservoir, fresh water. Aerogel comes down, makes little bubbles, and attaches onto the oil, which then brings it up to the surface of the water, where a skimmer would then come and skim it, and it all ends up in here. That's all fine and all, but what happens to the aerosol? They said this technology was created by TSU biologists. Microplastic settles to the bottom and decomposes. Then it releases toxic substances into the food chain, where everything from zooplankton on up ends up eating the microplastic. So biologists are trying any way to come up with a fix. But my question is, are they going to spray this crap everywhere? And I can't believe they're putting it in drinking water reservoirs. That's crazy. So what's my point here? So microplastic is one of the scourges of the planet Earth. It has to do with the fossil fuel industry. And they're upping plastic production all over the world as fast as they can. Money. That's what's so important. What can we do about it? We can not use plastic. That's how that works. Plastic bags, if there are actual plastic bags still at your supermarket, don't use them. You can buy compostable bags, which are made out of cornstarch. I use them all the time. They rot very quickly. In fact, if they're wet, within a week they'll be composted, so it doesn't take long with the new composting bags. That's what you use. A lot of our grocery stores here in San Francisco use these instead of the plastic bags. Then once you've used it to bring whatever it is, your fruits and vegetables, home with you, then you can use it to put waste into it and then put it into and recycle it back into the planet. It's a genius thought. You don't need to use plastic bags for anything, especially garbage bags, straws, coffee, stirring little things, and coffee cups. All this can be done with your own coffee cup. Bring it into you or bring it with you and fill the coffee cup up that way instead of having a throwaway coffee cup every time. That's crazy, made of styrofoam or plastic. Awful. There's so many ways we can stop using plastic. Think of it about around where you are. Have you converted from plastic over to some other form of carrying? Something like a basket, a reusable canvas bag, a paper bag if you have to, compostable bags for shopping. You can bring your own and just use them instead of the ones in the store. Anyway, that's what we can do, and that's what we need to do. Stop consuming plastic completely. It's directly feeding the fossil fuel industry, which is then polluting our planet with high levels of CO2, methane, and other greenhouse gases. This is a definite way to fight that. Stop using it. All right, unfortunately, here in San Francisco, restaurants are still using phosphates to keep their lettuce, tomatoes, and other vegetables fresh for days, weeks, or even months. I've even heard that phosphates have been put on salads and things that last up to a year. Oh, they make me so sick. I'm suffering from that. So I'm not really in the mood to go out and do anything outside. I'm just suffering until this passes through. And I really hate sulfates being used in our food industry. It's another thing. We can ask our restaurants, are you using sulfates? Make them know that we don't like it. Makes us sick. Oh. So I appreciate all the ups and downs and new subscribers, and do what you can do to not use plastic.